not popping. So I'm gonna have to just find like a ultraviolet,
Purple.
like in one that will glow in the black light. But
Have you tried mixing the red and the blue blacklight inks? Paints?
no.
I've always wanted to try that. And I'm like,
I guess it would be pink and blue. But it is neon, and that blue glows really good in that black light.
yeah. Yeah. And
Right.
so does the pink. So I feel like it would work, right?
Yeah. How's it sounding? Good. Sounding good? Oh, gosh. Yeah, that's blinding. Blinded by the- It is hot already.
I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay. Because we're in Texas.
Yep.
And that's just the way it is in Tejas.
Yeah, Texas really ain't your friend.
So you were talking about how your mom converted and all that.
The garage,
The
yeah.
garage. This used to be the garage, obviously, and then it was my dad's recording studio. And then at one point, I lived in here during the winter because the house was really full. It was actually pretty cool. I liked it a lot. For a while, it was like I had like my own little cubicle.
I like it. Like I can just like hide in the corner and
Yeah.
everything. And like we had doors that we took out of a one of the closets, and there's just enough doors to like create a wall.
Yes, that's perfect. Just to like block everything.
Yeah,
out.
so I got like a nice little area here, and I went to Walmart, bought this little organizer. This what is it? It's a closet
Organizer.
There you go. And put all my stuff in it, and it all fits. I was like, cool. This is nice. This is nice. This is cool. Figuring out AC was a pain.
Well, this room during the summer, the breaker is constantly going off because of the
AC unit.
Yeah, so before you got here, I've been trying to cool it. And I actually had to pour water. I was trying to bring the hose around from the front, and the spout was corroded, and it just fell off.
Oh, God.
I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm not doing this. But, anyways, I poured water on it to cool it down and try to make it not
So hot.
do that again. Okay, so today I have Miss Gata.
Hello.
She is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
She does all my tattoos. She does jiu-jitsu with me sometimes. Not very much anymore, but sometimes.
We'll change that.
Yeah, we're going to do it. I've gotten better at teaching too.
Woo!
Cause,
I've gotten better at learning.
Because when I was...
Yes.
Oh, yeah! It's a true statement. I was just guessing.
Yeah. Hey, it takes time
Does.
sometimes.
It really does. A lot of people definitely
Especially when you're ADD. We're like every 5 seconds binging around. Yeah.
hey, squirrel.
Yeah. Just like my introduction.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, she is an amazing tattoo artist. I have notes
Thank
here, but I didn't do a very good job with them. So what I was looking for was she received an award. Where did it go? What was your award? Just
It
tell me,
was
'cause-
second at the Paris Body Art Expo for second best goal.
Yes. And go ahead and let them know where you do your...
Where I do my work?
Yeah.
So I work out of a shop. It's brand new shop. We barely just opened it up. It's called Oak Cliff Tattoo Company. It's a little shop that's like based off of just artists that travel, artists that do custom work and things like that. And right now we are appointment only, except for on Thursdays when we do like this Thirsty Thursday event with a local smoke shop that's like right next door called Smoke Pretty. Really cool shop,
Sweet.
right? Anyway, so basically what happened with this shop is that we were working out of Majestic, and we're all just one big family, us and
Yeah.
Majestic. And Majestic got too big. There was too many artists working there, and we were just kind of working on top of each other. So we opened up this other shop for all the artists that travel on conventions and things like that and do more convention work as opposed to like in-house work and walk-in work. So that's what the new shop is, Oak Cliff Tattoo Company, and yeah, it's been pretty fun. Not gonna lie. We travel once to twice a month for different shows all across the right now all across the United States. Hopefully we're gonna be expanding further from here.
Yeah,
But
I've seen that you've been doing some traveling. I like
yes.
following it on
Thank you,
Instagram.
thank you.
So just in case some of you watchers, I don't know, wanna check out the tattoos that she's done. I'll plug some of mine, my whole arm and my back. She's done. So I'll plug in some pictures of that so y'all can see the work she's done because it's amazing.
Thanks.
She did a cover up that I.
That one's one of my favorites.
It was a terrible tattoo. It was a terrible mistake.
And I covered it up with a white dragon.
Yes, a beautiful dragon with butterflies, and I just want to say thanks to the person that did the first bad tattoo. He knows who he is, and and he will agree that that was not a good idea. But we got it fixed, and it looks amazing, and I'm so happy with the work. So if y'all want to find her, it's at Gata _
inc.s. So it's got the inks, but like incorporated instead of
yeah,
inky.
yeah, .s.
Eventually, I'll probably have another. Or what is it called whenever you make a brand? You make your name a brand. Okay, never mind. We'll
I
figure
don't
that
know.
out later.
I'm figuring it out.
Okay, cool. I'm not the only one.
We're learning as we go. Yeah, I don't really know.
All that business stuff. That's like over my
Okay,
head.
so that's what I wanted. I wanted to get into all that. Also, I just want to shout out. She did a, what is it called? A freehand.
I do a lot of freehand tattoos. Which
Yeah. So she's also a really good just artist, which I love art and I love to draw. So whenever I first started on Procreate with my tablet, I was like, I don't know what to do. Can you help me?
Oh yeah, a lot of Procreate.
Yeah, she helps me a lot, and that's where she gets all her tattoos, and it's just awesome to watch it.
Oh yeah, I love using Procreate to make tattoos. Freehand tattoos are the ones where you draw them on the body and then tattoo them on the body. And then I also do like designs, pre-made designs, or like not pre-made designs, but like custom designs that are made on the Procreate app. But yeah, definitely a tool that I use on the daily basis
Sweet.
for a lot of things.
So, I want to ask you, and I'm going to ask everybody, how do you know me?
Okay, so I met you in at Kingdom. Basically, at one point in time in my life, I was just like, I work in all these sketchy places and all these sketchy shops. I should probably know how to defend myself. And so I made a trip out to Kingdom and met you and everyone else.
Yeah.
And
hold on, pause. Tell everybody how tall you are.
I'm not. I think so. I'm under 5 foot.
Okay,
that's for
so
sure.
That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to say anything else. But she is like Mighty Mouse. Oh my God, she will choke you out. Do not make any mistake. And she hits pretty hard too.
Oh, thanks. I've been working at it.
I know you have.
Oh
I'm
my
very
God.
proud of you. I think you're doing amazing.
Oh, thank you. I've been working out. Like, damn.
Yeah, I haven't been doing that great. I do jujitsu all the time, but I gotta start doing my actual workouts again.
I feel like I feel like if it wasn't for the fact that like I know y'all, I probably would be very, very lazy when it came to like working out and being healthy and whatnot. Like,
Yeah. We do hold a little bit of accountability. Hey, what you
yes,
doing?
yeah. Are you working out? Nope.
That's more Josh. Josh holds people accountable more than I do. I'd probably be the same way. I'd probably
I
not do
mean,
crap if
I mean, you're the one that keeps me going back to Kingdom. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Yay! Yeah,
you
where are
go.
you? Come back.
I
I heard you're off on Wednesdays.
I
What?
know. I know.
Just so y'all know, Kingdom is where we do jujitsu at, and I also work part-time there.
Mhm.
And it has a women's only class 2 days a week. And I highly suggest that if you've been through any sort of trauma or
Yeah.
you have a low confidence in yourself, or you just want to learn self-defense, that's the best place to get started, because you get to feel comfortable without having to roll with another guy, and the women are very inviting.
Oh yeah, that is one of my favorite things to do. Is go to the women's classes for jujitsu. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like it's not only is it like empowering, but like it's also uplifting to have all these other like women of all ages, all different sizes, and all sorts of just creeds and you know everything, just a whole diverse
Yeah, and you
group.
can't help but smile.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They call me Giggles over there.
Yeah, you do giggle a lot.
Yeah.
I do too, though, especially when I first started, because I was like really uncomfortable. But now it's not hard. We just did the Live Fearless class. We did two back to back,
Still pretty
and
hard
they were like, yeah, there was a lot of giggling when I was coming up trying to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
People don't take me seriously. I'm like, I could kill you, okay?
I'll just be smiling and
I
laughing as
know
I do
that I
it.
don't look like I can, but I could.
She really could, guys. She really could.
Anyways, okay, so what you said what brought you into jiu-jitsu was you lived in a sketchy neighborhood. Did it also have anything to do with your first trauma?
Yes, yes. So, at that time, I was just getting out of that relationship. Um,
Yeah, I think I remember when we first connected, you were kind of talking about how you just
mhm. And like even then, it didn't really like dawn on me as it being like an abusive relationship or
yeah.
manipulative or toxic. Like I knew it wasn't the right kind of relationship, or it wasn't a relationship that I wanted to be in, but I didn't really like understand why.
Yeah.
Like I didn't understand that the things that he was doing to me was like very manipulative and very basically like mentally abusive.
Yeah.
So it was like once I found out, looking back on it in hindsight, I'm like, wow, yeah, no, I should probably have saw the signs then,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
Yeah.
So essentially, what happened is that relationship ended, and how it
Time out
ended.
real quick, guys. Sorry.
So first, okay, so like
Oh God.
essentially, what happened
Sorry.
for me getting into the jiu-jitsu and all that is like me and this guy, we started fighting at one point in time. When I was headed home, a guy approached me, some random guy approached me and tried to make a move or whatever, and at the time I had a gun, and that was my protection. And so like he saw the gun, he went away, and so I told my the boyfriend at the time about it, and instead of it being something like comforting, it was it turned into something like, oh, you're cheating on me, oh, this is your fault, blah 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 blah. And that's what started all the fights and everything. And then like quickly after that we broke up. um I landed on the other studio that was owned by the same people that I was working for. And which was, just more into town. So it was just like one of those things where I was like, I should probably start learning how to defend myself
Yeah.
because, I mean, I didn't even think about it in the sense of in a relationship at that time. I was just thinking of it as like, oh, I'm in this sketchy neighborhood around these sketchy people, and I don't know where I'm gonna end up next after the shop. So I just gotta be prepared.
Yeah.
Don't want to be a victim of circumstance.
So let's go back a little bit. You were saying that you kind of talked really fast through the boyfriend.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
That's okay. That's why I'm here. How he was manipulating you, but you weren't really like even right out of the relationship.
Yeah.
You still weren't really recognizing,
Yeah.
So which I understand because I was still not fresh out of, I may have still been like 6 months to a year out before like really started realizing that it was even abuse that was going on, right?
Yeah.
So it can take some time,
Oh,
but
absolutely. I guess the moment that like broke the camel's back or ended the relationship was so that incident with the random guy happened um
right.
right after, I want to say it was either right after or right before we got evicted from the apartment that we were living at. Um, which I don't know why we were immediately evicted because at that point in time, I thought that that was like the first time we were ever gonna be late. And whenever we went and talked to them about it, they were like, "No, that's the end of it."
Like the first time?
Yeah, the first time. So it made no sense that it being at the first time. I'm pretty sure he was late the whole time.
Yeah,
And
that's crazy because I've
yeah,
never been evicted for.
right for the first time. Yeah, no, that just doesn't happen. But anyway, so like we got evicted from that house because we were gonna be late that month, and we went back to his parents' house, his family home, and I'm not sure when that random occurrence happened with the guy. It was either right before that or right after that, but like once it happened and then we got evicted, all of that just piled up and we were fighting a bunch and fighting a bunch and fighting a bunch, and I didn't want to fight anymore. And then at this one point in time, I had left to go, I think, hang out with family. I was not around. And when I got back, he had moved all my stuff out. So I was like, all right, fine. I'll just pack up and leave. And that was the end of it. Of course, there was a lot of fighting once he got home from that. But, like, that actually got physical. And that's when I was like, I mean, obviously, I was already done because he moved all my stuff out. But, like, I was done after that because it got physical.
Yeah,
Yeah, and his dad had to break up a fight.
between the two of y'all. So, how long were y'all together?
Off and on for like 8 years or so.
So, you had kind of gotten used to just all the behaviors to the point where you were just kind of becoming real numb to it.
Yeah,
So, there was
yeah,
probably a point where you said,
it's normal.
yeah,
Like this is completely normal. This is how
yeah,
relationships are.
yeah,
Like, and honestly, going into relationships after that, and even after my my relationship after him became an abusive relationship too. But like after both of those relationships, I still find it uncomfortable almost to have like you know to have this calm atmosphere. It's like almost it doesn't make sense to me to have a calm atmosphere inside a relationship. Like that's not how things are, but that's supposed to be how things are, right?
Yeah, it's very deceiving.
Yeah.
When I first started like really living alone and being alone, um, comfortable in my own space, it was very hard to navigate like chaos because I didn't want chaos, but I was always around so much
Yeah.
chaos that my brain was like, why do I want this?
Yeah, and
It's very confusing.
it's
Yeah.
like once you experience the peace and quiet
Mhm.
time, just peace and quiet of just that, like, no chaos, nothing's going on around you, it feels wrong
Yes.
almost.
Yeah.
It feels wrong to begin with, and you're like, I don't understand. What am I supposed to be doing? Like, I even to like it took me having to like force myself to take time for myself for me to finally like start to enjoy taking time for myself. And now you can't keep me from like my time.
I know. I used to feel like I always needed someone around me, and it would
Mhm.
just my anxiety would just feed off of all the people around me,
And then
and it was chaos. And
yeah.
then I got peace, and I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. Then
Yeah.
I'd overthink and just go down these horrible rabbit holes.
Those were the worst.
Yeah,
Those were the
so
worst.
so trying to like self-talk, like, Haley, shut up, don't talk to yourself like that. That's not cool.
Mhm.
That was really helpful. But look, I'm already going squirrel on you.
It happens. You know.
I know. Uh, let's go back to where you stopped off at.
Where did I stop off at?
Dang. Well, I asked you how long you had been in
With
a
that guy?
relationship. 8 years. You talking about on and off. Oh, I know what I want to talk to you about. You said he got physical.
Yes. So.
Okay, so this is a turning point, I know.
Mhm.
It's always a turning point. So go ahead and tell me about when you got physical.
Well, so crazy enough, like, so he got physical that one time, and it wasn't like a fight. It was like he said something, and I remember just losing my shit and just fucking. I think I went to like backhand him or slap him, one of the two, and he dodged it and like lunged at me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then his dad was quickly pretty much like out as soon as that happened, getting him off of me. So that was the last time I saw him. Um, the relationship afterwards, that actually was like he threw punches at me and was like wrestling me to the ground. And at one point, he had me in a chokehold on the ground.
Mm-mm.
And that one was what was when things kind of like changed in my mind of like what am I doing wrong, why do I keep like finding myself in these kind of situations, like why is this normal, because
Yeah, it's not normal.
it's definitely not.
But your body feels like it's normal because that's all it really knows, and and it's not who you chose. I know I felt that way too forever.
Hmm.
Why do I choose these people
Yeah,
that don't want to
it's
love me the way I want to love them?
right. It's yeah, I mean, maybe it's not like who you choose, but like setting your boundaries and keeping your
Mhm.
boundaries and things like
Yeah.
that.
And I don't think a lot of women learn boundaries.
Oh yeah, no, boundaries are definitely one of those
I
things where
think
like
like we really think that we're supposed to be submissive to all men and like just do whatever,
yeah,
and that's
it's like almost ingrained in our I don't want to say it's ingrained in our DNA, but like it's almost like it is because like you grow up, and I remember, even to this day, I get anxiety. Like, should I be dating someone and they get mad at me? And I'm like, oh shit, what did
yeah.
I do? And I'm
Yeah.
like, even if I didn't even do anything, even if they're just getting mad because they're frustrated at a situation, I don't even know. But yeah, so they get frustrated or mad or whatever, and even if it's not at me because they're mad or in a bad state of mind, I feel as though it's my fault, and it's just like, why? And I thought about it for so long, and I talked to one friend about it, and she proposed the same kind of theory. Like, it's like you're uh raised into it and taught like this is normal when it's not.
Well, being a parent, you start to see everything back to you. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it,
I
but
I get it though.
maybe even raising like your niece.
Kind of, yeah, playing.
Sometimes you can start to see your behaviors and then repeating them back to you, and that's like a real, oh,
Yeah, eye-opening experience.
maybe I should stop doing that, right? But then how do you learn to stop doing a behavior that you've always done? Well, you have to practice.
Mm-hmm.
So just like you would practice doing anything, you have to practice it and create a muscle memory.
Yeah,
And
create a habit.
I mean,
It is definitely
when
all
you
about.
finally realize that 36 years later, it's a lot of muscle memory to change. But once you
Yeah,
recognize it,
yeah, you can start changing the
yeah,
habit and
yeah.
whatnot, and that's exactly like the path that I'm on right now is like changing that habit to like, if something happens, like just having that confidence in myself to like hold my boundaries and being able to actually hold said boundaries. Like that's one step. That was the first step, and then now it's like pretty much just learning what my version of normal would be. Like what I want normal to be for me
Yeah. Yeah.
and making that the normal.
Yeah. Um so what were did you have help and support
Oh,
when
absolutely.
you were like how was it? Because just I guess when I was trying to leave, one thing that really tied me down, and you said y'all had this apartment together,
Mhm.
but one thing that really kept me, well, there was two things, but one was the animals and children, I guess. But the other one was finances and feeling like, oh my gosh, am I even going to be able to afford this on my own?
for for my first relationship, that one was more of less like who else is going to love me? And that was the thought that I had that kept me there for the most part. And then coming out of that relationship and going into the next one, it was all about like it was finances. I never had any money because he always spent it all, and then he would go behind my back and spend money. And then, of course, since I had no finances, we also had like a bunch of animals because I always have a
I
bunch.
know, that was so hard.
I always have a bunch of animals. I still have a
And
bunch
my
of animals.
parents were not like, yeah, you can bring all your animals. And I was
Yeah.
like, but they're a part of me.
Yeah, yeah. Luckily for me, I was able to keep all of my animals,
Good.
and I definitely
Good,
fought
good,
for that.
good.
Like that
Yeah,
was
no.
like
At the time, my dad was like, mm-mm.
I feel that. I mean, like animals are just as much as responsibility as like kids and things like that. They
They
very much
really,
are dependent.
oh, I know.
And so anyway, so yeah, there was animals and like the idea that I wasn't going to be able to take care of my animals if I left, he had, even though he was spending all the money, he also made sure that like the bills were paid and that was all we had money for.
Yeah,
And
that you wouldn't have any extra money for.
yeah, and then there
So
was
it's like you're
also
working into nothing. That's
yeah.
kind of, yeah.
And then there was also the idea of like I wasn't like, worth more than that. Like um it was I remember my first relationship taking more of a mental toll than it did a physical toll, and my second relationship taking more of like a physical toll.
Yeah.
And like of course the physical toll was what fixed my mentality about everything, but like that mental toll is what broke me and got me into that second relationship because like at that point it was like I couldn't keep this first guy even though I wanted to keep him forever. I couldn't keep him because it was my fault. Everything was my fault. And then
Mm-hmm.
like going into that second one, I already knew for a fact that everything that happened was my fault. And even though that wasn't the case at all, that's the reason why I did the things that I did, was because I was under the mindset that it was my fault, and that like it could have been
Yeah.
something as stupid as like, oh, I made it home late because a tattoo ran late, and like, oh yeah, no, like that's my fault. I should have been faster at that tattoo.
I know. Wasn't it always funny how the reason that they were late or didn't show up or do what they were supposed to do was somehow came back to being your fault.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And you
and
just
it's
go in circles.
and it I after taking therapy and things like that, doing therapy, talking to a counselor, um, it was like at that point I realized that like it didn't just start like with the relationship. It started like at as a child.
Yeah, it always does.
Yeah, and it's like, as a child, my dad wasn't really around. He decided that he wanted to be somebody else's dad over being our dad. So it was like, all right, cool, that's fine, it's whatever. But then I had to like face the mental traumas that came from that. And as a kid, whenever something like that happens, you don't think, oh, my dad's a piece of shit. No,
No,
you
no, no.
think,
You don't
what?
have the mental skills
Yeah,
you don't have them. They're
yeah, you
not
just
developed yet.
you don't think like that. You're
No.
a child. You think, what am I doing wrong? Why doesn't dad even
Yeah.
want to be around
Mhm.
me? Like I'm trying my best. And so like I remember I got into this habit of always trying to be a version of perfect that I didn't even understand. Like
Right.
I saw this little box that was what perfect was supposed to be, and I did everything I could to fit in that little box. But like nothing in that box really made sense. And once I like actually looked at the box, so to say, is like it's none of this makes sense. None of these qualifications for perfect make sense because there is no such thing as a perfect little box or a perfect little
Mm-mm.
human.
No. No,
So
no,
it's
no.
like but
Not at all.
it took going to therapy to kind of like realize that, and
I'm
like
glad you
realize
said that because I was gonna ask you what did you do to help you get through it?
therapy.
And therapy, right?
Therapy.
And had you already started tattooing before y'all
So
split up? You and the first.
I started tattooing. So me and this guy, we were on and off, on and off, on and off. And one of these times that we were off, I started in the shops. And I didn't start tattooing until we were together. And then the first, I remember I was in his room tattooing myself, and that was the first tattoo that I ever did. And like, I was supposed to tattoo him as well, but like, he wound up falling asleep, so I was just like, fuck it. And it was my birthday, and I was like, I'm just gonna tattoo myself. So
And
I
after
did.
you did that, you were, oh, I'm
Yep,
addicted.
I'm addicted.
I
I'm
don't have
gonna
to
be.
draw on paper. I can draw on people.
I'm doing tattoos for the rest of my life. And
No, it's a score, and you're so good at it. You've
thank you.
evolved like there's a
Thank
fly.
you.
You've
Yeah.
evolved so much in the past. How long have we known each other? 5 years, maybe.
I've been tattooing professionally for 3 years, so
Maybe.
but I've
Yeah.
been in the shops for about
Yeah.
maybe 6 years. But yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So, anyways,
yeah, it's been a whole long journey,
so
and
tattooing
like,
definitely helps you
yeah. So
get through these traumas, though. I'm sure.
for damn sure.
Just
So
grinding on people's skin.
hell yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, give me some numbing agent, please.
So there's that, but there's also like this human connection that you get with
Yeah,
people.
for sure.
So
Get to feel kind of their energy and hear their stories.
one client I remember, um she she's one of the quieter clients, so like we don't really like talk much, but she has scars all over her body, and so like what I'm doing for her is I'm covering up these scars with like just roses and
Oh,
chrysanthemums and all these different kinds of flowers and vines and things like that, and I'm just freehanging them on there and covering up these scars for her. And this last session that we had, she was all like, I don't know if you understand how much this changed my life. Like, I in the 50 or how old is she, 40 something years that she's been alive, she had never felt comfortable wearing tank tops. at all. Like showing her shoulder, showing her back, none of that. She was not comfortable. She wore baggy jeans or baggy clothes her whole life until she started getting these tattoos done.
Yeah.
She was telling me that the scars were from surgeries and things like that. And I'm like, okay, well that's cool. And then she was like, but even after the surgeries, I wasn't even comfortable wearing tank tops or anything like that because I had all these scars, and then you cover them up, and now I'm like actually comfortable in my body, and you have
Yeah.
no idea how much that means to me. And it was like this person that I spent all this time with that I just now realized at that point realized that like I didn't actually really know her because she's one of the quiet ones. She doesn't really talk. And that's
Right.
fine, that happens. But like to change someone's life like that, to make that kind of difference, like just to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and actually like what you see.
Mhm.
That's something that like a lot of people strive to just have just a taste of it.
Yeah.
Just a taste of it. And I know that I have been there, looking the person looking in the mirror, not
Yeah.
liking what I saw back, and like it took a lot of self care because not even the tattoos for me fixed it. It took a whole lot of self care for me to actually get to the point where I can like myself and
Yeah.
be myself and want to be myself.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's where going to counseling, and then that
Yes.
probably one of the biggest questions that I have for you, and which we're kind of leading into, is how did you heal from that first trauma? You've had
Uh,
several traumas, and I think
yeah.
we all have to heal differently from them.
Yeah,
But what
each.
kind of steps did you take? Because there's going to be roadblocks and things
Mhm.
thrown at you that's going to question your mind and make you go, should I go back? Should I,
Honestly, so
and what
what
about me? Like,
yeah, so okay, so like going back was never an option once I got out. Like for me, I made it to that point pretty like as soon as I was out, I was done, and like I'm thankful that I was like that's where I was once I got out because I could definitely find myself in another abusive relationship for damn sure, but
yeah.
I know for a fact that I have more skills to keep me out of it than I do to like put myself back into those situations.
Yeah.
So I guess to answer your question would be like I'm still kind of healing. Like I don't think like it's going to be something that I'm going to just be done with at any point in time. It's going to be one of those things where it's
Yeah.
just
It's forever.
yeah, it's ongoing because, what I want now isn't necessarily going to be what I want in a couple years from now, or what is healthy for me now isn't necessarily going to be healthy for me a couple years from now. And like I can have a very constant schedule or way about me or lifestyle whatever um now, but like that doesn't necessarily mean that in a couple years from now that's going to be the same thing. So it's like I feel as though it's one of those things where I'm just kind of every day taking the chance or taking the opportunity to just like who am I today, I guess, in a
Yeah. So
sense.
that's like your affirmation during
Yeah.
the day, is you ask yourself, who am I today,
Yeah,
and what am I gonna, what's the
and
day gonna bring?
yeah, so like for affirmations, I actually like tell myself like I'm I'm achieving the goals that I'm setting out. Like um and also I got this affirmation from a video online of an online she teaches about manifestation and tarot cards and all this stuff, and I fucking love her. Her name is
Oh,
Mia.
I staged the room last night
Yay!
for you, and I brought my
Yeah, I saw
yeah, I brought my
and crystals. I was like, oh,
got
I
my
love
salt
this.
rock. Yeah.
I love all of
So
this.
that it would have healing energy.
Yes, I love
Okay,
it.
so go ahead
Anyway,
and
so
continue.
she was talking about like different affirmations, and one affirmations that she usually uses is everything always works out for me, and I love that because it's just like what, if something bad happens, something inconvenient happens, I'm like, what, it's cool, it's fine, everything always works out for me, everything always works out for me,
Yeah,
and somehow it
I
just
like it.
right, it's like it's very like it's cool. Everything always works out. Fine.
It's true. It does. Everything is always gonna work out.
Yep, it works out in some form of fashion. It's gonna work itself out. It's gonna be
Yeah,
fine.
there's so many theories. I was listening to a podcast about the threes theories, three threes. You
Mhm.
know, you put a negative into the world, it comes back three times three.
Oh, I heard about
You put a
that.
positive into the world, it comes back three times three.
Yeah.
So it's powerful when you put energy into the world that you make sure you put a positive energy into the world. But it can be so easy to put negative energy into the world because
Yeah,
there's
and
so much negative energy that people need to heal from.
absolutely. And it's like even though you're trying to be a happy-go-lucky person, you might see something or someone go through something or you just encounter someone that's just got just a bad vibe that day.
Yeah.
And it just
And
next
you're
thing you
like,
know, you're just like,
ugh, it's a plague. Get off of me.
right? I remember at
Yeah.
the last convention that I worked, not the last convention that I worked, but the one before that. I don't know what it was, but like that whole convention was just like it just had like this malice vibe to it, and everyone felt it, and everyone was getting very mad and angry and upset at just little things here and there, like clients, artists, everyone.
It just didn't have a good energy.
Yeah, and it was like the whole weekend. It was just so draining. By the end of it, I was like, you know what? Definitely need some time to myself after that.
Yeah, so I guess so that's a really good affirmation. I like it. I'm gonna try to use it. Everything that everybody comes on here and tells me that they use, I'm gonna try to
I like that.
see it like try it out and see if it's something that helps me balance myself. Because sometimes I think I need to take time for myself to get balanced. Sometimes we get really off whack with sickness and work
Ooh,
and
yeah.
busyness. And so, what do you do? Do you like take time to yourself?
Ooh, man,
Do you meditate? Do you take long baths? I mean, what do you do to make
I
your mind kind of
come back
calm?
to centered. So I have a variety of different things that I do: jujitsu and Muay
Mm-hmm.
Thai, and all the fighting is that I do is definitely w- number
Helps
one.
get that energy
Oh
out.
hell
Yeah.
yeah! When I get mad, I'm like, I'm gonna go fight something.
Yeah.
Just gonna go beat the
Go
crap out
choke
of something.
somebody until my
Oh.
arms fall off.
Oh. Anyway, so that's definitely one. Of course, tattooing is always gonna be my happy place, my safe spot, my place that I can go to just like a get away from life, and b also like center myself, and then also do something good for the world. So it gives back to the world. It gives back to the people that I'm tattooing. It also is
Yes.
good for my career. It makes me more money and whatnot. So it's just all around good. So that's my number one is fighting and tattooing, and after that, baths, walks, hanging out with people, inspiring people like you and Josh, and my
Rah.
best friend Sam, all these people that that have come to inspire me in one way or another, that like I like being around like good happy people. And
Yeah.
I've learned that like if I'm gonna be a social person, because I'm more of an introvert than anything, but if I'm
Yeah.
gonna be a social person, it's got to be around people like that.
Yes, yes.
Cause
And it's hard when you've grown up in a very toxic and
ooh yeah,
environment or around toxic people thinking that it's normal. It's hard to but once you start getting around non-toxic people, you're like,
you start to see the difference.
"Whoa, what?
Like
I don't believe you. You're not really real, are you?
yeah, right. So like
Are you fake?"
so working in the shops, I meet a lot of people, including a lot of different kind of artists, and a lot of artists, I want to say, like, artists are emotional people. Like, I mean, like,
They're
it doesn't
so
matter.
emo.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't matter what kind of art style that you do. It could be tattoos, baking, cuisine, dancing, whatever, music. You're emotional because that's how you create. Like you don't create just because you create because you have emotions. So like artists are emotional. It makes
Yes.
sense. But a lot of the time I've realized that artists are people too. So a lot of artists are just, they have all of these emotions and they give back and they make all these they make all these things and create all these things, but a lot of them just don't take the time out to like actually deal with their emotions. They just kind of throw it out there in this median, and that
Hide behind
and
it.
yeah, they start
Yeah.
hiding behind their median and things like that. And I realized that that was definitely like the path that I was going down until I got out of out of therapy really. And then it
Yeah.
was like, after that it was like I started feeling my emotions first. And I will say that like it took me a hot ass minute to get to that point, but I started feeling my emotions first and dealing with my emotions before anything else. Like, all right, look, this thing right here made me real sad. So, um I'm going to take this time because nobody's around to like cry about it, and then I'm going to deal with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And well, ultimately, which it sucks so bad, but at the end of the day, you're the only one that's butthurt about this situation or
Yeah,
whatever.
about
Not even,
whatever.
it doesn't even have to be butthurt, but
Yeah, you're
just.
feeling whatever emotion you're feeling.
And sometimes you can't help the emotions you're feeling, especially when
Yeah.
you're a woman.
Oh God, I mean, even when you're a guy, like I just feel like
No,
it's
seriously.
people. People feel what they're gonna feel, and then a lot of people. So, at one point in time, I was actually talking to a guy, and he was very gun ho about this idea that men suppress their emotions. And I'm
Well,
like,
duh.
that makes no sense. Like, why would you suppress something that you're gonna feel no matter what? And if you're gonna try and suppress it, like, okay, but
Well,
eventually,
it's just that mental illness that
yeah,
is
that
that's
mentality
kind of
that,
slowly changing in the
oh yeah,
world, but it's like all the people that have grown up teaching their kids like if you do this then I'm not going
yeah,
to say everything that
yeah. I mean, we
but
all
just
we all
that
know those stereotypes, like, and it's really
yeah,
unfortunate because
just
now,
making you feel like maybe you're less of a man if you
right,
don't do this or you
right, and
and
like
that's just insane.
it's insane because like ultimately speaking, that mentality is what's hurting the relationships that you're trying so hard to fix.
Oh, seriously.
And it's like uh, I remember he was so gun ho on that, and I told him, look at the people that you look up to, look at the men that you look up to. All of them have realized that you're gonna feel these emotions no matter what,
Mhm.
and they've learned that like, all right, if I'm gonna feel these emotions, then I'm gonna learn a healthy way to deal with them, so I can deal with them and get back to what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. And they do it flawlessly because at that point, they've probably been doing it for years and years and they got all the practice. I don't know, but they do it.
Well, just, everybody's got
Yeah.
their insecurities. There's nobody in this world that doesn't sit in the shower and cry by themselves. That's just not real.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So like if you need to sit by yourself and cry, sit by yourself and cry. Like
Do
it's
it.
okay. It's
Do
a-okay.
it.
If you're gonna get mad, that's fine too. Just,
No one's around. Nobody's watching you. It's not the
right.
Truman Show.
Right? It does feel like it
It
though. It really
does.
does.
And it's because we're just so out of touch with reality these
Oh, I
days.
was watching this one
It's very
video.
confusing. Everybody's grown up
I was
very.
watching this one video. It was talking about, so like it's a double video. One's by one person and the other one's by another person, but both of them are talking about like personalities and personalities and where you start and where you end and things like that. And
Mhm.
like it came up with this theory of like people need bonds. They are gonna bond no matter what. They're gonna bond to something, whether it be your phone, uh, drugs, healthy life, living ways, whatever it is, people, you're gonna bond to something. Animals, it doesn't matter what it is, you're gonna bond to something. And what people do is they bond to things like their phones or their drugs and things like that, as opposed to finding bonds with actual like people, and that gets them in this mindset of like, oh, it's us versus them, and like instead of it helping, it actually pushes them more into these bonds with these unhealthy habits.
Yeah. Well, we're all addicted to something.
Yeah,
And
everyone.
habits.
That's what it is.
It's just creating new healthy habits. So you just
Exactly.
have to try to mentally train yourself to do it. Well, I feel like we could talk for probably 5,000 years.
Oh yeah, no, we've actually proven that.
Yeah. So I definitely want to have you on again
Mm,
later
for
on.
sure, for
So
sure.
we
I
can
will.
we can go, hey, the thing about trauma is when there's more than one, you got plenty to talk about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So we can get back on and talk about the second next time. But for now, I hope that everyone enjoyed listening to the ways that she was able to heal and get through this and to kind of, hone herself into her art and, do
Oh yeah.
her rituals that are daily habits of just trying to be kind to herself. Um, Again, if you want to find her, you can find her on Instagram at,
At gata_inc.s.
and we'll have a link because,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and also Google.
Oh, and you can find her on
Yes.
Google.
Yes, if you search gata_inc.s, you can find me on Google, which is really cool. I didn't know about that till recently, and I'm still pretty like high on that,
So, if you like the tattoos and you're in the area, go get tattooed by her. It's amazing. She's the only person I'll let touch my skin.
I appreciate you.
Well, other than jujitsu.
I mean,
Anyways.
of course, but I'm the only one that gets in the skin.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing.
Thank
I know
you
that
for
was
having me.
that it's always hard to do, but it gets easier.
It does. Yeah.
And if you like us, share, blah, subscribe. What I don't know.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.